Alex, what do you make of this? A lawsuit, does it make a difference? Is the way that California led the way on car emissions, could we see New York City and Florida leading the way on social media?
Yeah, I think it could make a difference. I think this this lawsuit has merit. And the reason why it can make a difference is because some states like Montana and Ohio and Utah have said, we want to ban social media for people under 16. And that's been struck down by the courts under free speech rights. And I think New York is taking the right position here. Not only does it have a laundry list of evidence in its lawsuit, but it's also saying, yeah, we would like them to not be able to, have users that age, but we also want money. Right. And it's one thing that these social media companies will listen to, and that's, having their money taken from them. And I think that's the right way to approach this. Sue them, get money, and make it so painful for them to be able to have such young kids on their apps that they'll stop doing it. They'll actually be serious about it.
I do question the moral platform that New York City is coming from, because its own Department of Education has not banned cell phones in schools. Where do you come on this, Andrew?
Well, and that's one of the important things. I think there's a difference between New York and Florida right now. Florida has passed legislation that prevents young people in schools from accessing social media. Whereas if you look at some of the press conferences from Mayor Adams, he talks a lot about how he thinks social media is contributing to crime in New York. It seems like they're also looking for money, not saying exactly how much they're looking for, but instead saying that the state spends $100 million a year. It seems like a lot of this is lawsuit instead of passing legislation. And that's a big difference, because if the state can kind of educate people, if it can educate young people about the dangers, which most states aren't doing, that can have an actual real effect on young people.
Andrew, can legislation or lawsuit achieve the desired ends, which is to make children safer, number one? And number two, wouldn't children just work around whatever prohibitions are put into law, codified, or in lawsuits, because they'll lie. They'll lie about their age. They'll lie about whether they have parental permission. They'll confect some way to get around whatever the barriers are. That's number one. And number two, I'd love your opinion on whether the companies, in their very earnest disclaimers saying we're doing so much, we have these people who are dedicating their lives to protecting children, are they being disingenuous or not?
Well, on the first part, I think it's 100% true. Young people will find a workaround. If you build a 10-foot fence, someone will have an 11-foot ladder. And young people are using social media. It's hard to keep them off it. Parents give young people a tablet or a phone when they're 2, 3, 4 years old. It's a babysitter. That's why I'm a huge proponent of teaching students about and teaching young people about the dangers and the harms of social media. And that's where social media literacy courses come in. And that's why I'm really excited that the state of Florida is one of the first states to actually implement that in grades 6 through 12. At the same time, the social media companies, we've seen them again and again and again go before Congress, apologize, say they will do better, get called in front of Congress months later and make the same apologies. For them, it's about getting young people. It's about having young people addicted. It's about having us addicted. The big thing about young people is they want them in the pipeline early so that they'll become lifelong customers. And they also understand that young people are, in a lot of respects, the tastemakers of social media. Mm-hmm. They want them on there with their TikTok dances. They want them on there, kind of spreading what's new and popular, and for us older people to enjoy it.